This is just a quick video of these self-watering vertical planters. I'm going to kind of use these as a green wall. I think it'd be quite nice to conceal compost bins and water butts and things like that. So these are all made out of 25 litre HDPE containers. These ones contain carbon black, so they've got an additive which makes them resistant to ultraviolet light. It also colours them black, so they look a little bit more discreet, and by the time the plants have started to colonise the sides, I think they're going to look quite nice. But these haven't been planted that long, so they're still quite gappy at the moment. I've got a mix of succulent plants on top, because that's quite exposed to the sunlight. I've got some shells in there, some bits of granite, some bits of sea wash pebbles and things like that, just for a bit of interest. A little bit of a kind of mulch as well to retain a little bit of moisture. This one's mainly the same, and that one's got a few sort of that's a diacia. It's really quite nice. It's a nice sort of coral pink flower. So I've gone over these before, but if you haven't seen the other videos, I'll just do a quick explanation of what's going on here. So the bottom is a reservoir, and here's one that I haven't actually got planted up, and I've got aluminium cans just to make a sort of subfloor, and that supports the next container up, which in this case is a 25 litre container, and then it's just got the holes drilled in sides. So the rectangular, so there's 9 holes in the wider sides, and then the ends have got 6 holes. So these ones I've actually done them with the long face going that way, and then really I should have put the other way round, but what I've done on these ones, I've got a little filler here, and the filler is just a 90-degree PVC elbow, and I've got to cut down a water bottle and make a little funnel, and then I've just capped it off with a flower pot just to stop sort of frogs and things from falling in. These ones, the bottle is quite long, and it sort of interferes where the plant's going through, so I'll cut those shorter, so it literally will be a funnel, and then you can just see down where the elbow is. It should be up to the sort of just the rim of the bottle top where it's slipped over into the tube. So I've got mainly succulents in these ones. These ones are just cuttings, and I think they'll take quite well. I've cut them off and lined this with corrugated cardboard, punched some holes with a sharp pair of scissors, and then that is enough just to sort of hold the cutting in, and then I think it will kind of root quite happily by then. This is the ivy leaf toadflax, and that's really filling in quite nicely. So you can see there's the top row of holes there, 3 holes here, 3 holes there, 3 holes here. Because it's got a kind of trailing habit, it's sort of knitting together quite nicely. But what I thought might be interesting was having some of the succulents mixed in, and then I think that will kind of grow around that, and then that'll hide the sides of the container. So this one is, you've got the reservoir at the bottom, that's white. The white isn't as resistant to ultraviolet. After a few years those get brittle, so what I'm trying to do is sort of bury those in the ground, and then just use the black containers above ground where they're exposed to ultraviolet, and then by the time the plants have colonised, that will provide a bit of self-shade as well. I think that's looking really nice. What is quite nice about these, I've got a mix of succulents and sedums and things like that, so they'll root quite fast. They've actually got sort of aerial roots on, they're like a little runner, so they'll just sort of grow, and maybe more trailing plants around the top. So I think, these will fill in that side that will obviously overhang, and then these plants here, I think they'll knit together. But on the this one hasn't actually got a reservoir. This reservoir on the second level here, rather than having the filler on the side like this one, it's just got it's the top part of the container. I've cut it in half, cut the top off, and then I've got a PVC or a rubber grommet, electrical grommet, and a bit of PVC pipe through there, so that's like an overflow here. It's a bit like an overflow in a cistern in a toilet, so that will, once it reaches there, then it will overflow, so it'll stop the plants from getting too waterlogged on top. Can't see, it's so sunny today. What I've done here as well, when I was doing this, I might put some sort of support, almost like a secondary, so you've got a subfloor on the reservoir, and then I might put a sort of subfloor just above to make a gap where the plants go here, because then I've got another level where I can plant. So I could actually I could plant on the division between the top of the tower and then like the lid, and then on this one where the reservoir is, I could plant on top of that. This is like the grow tower with the holes in it. I could actually plant into that space there, and then I could plant into that space there. So I think that would really sort of fill in quite a lot faster, especially if I grew this sort of trailing plant. I think that would look really lovely. So I'm quite pleased with this so far. I haven't got that many of these. I've got to cut some more, but when I go past that car wash, I'll pick up as many as I can, and then once I've got the reservoirs, I can just start stacking these higher. So it's going to look really good, because how high is that one? I don't know. It's about 3'6". So yeah, it's just over 3 feet. But if you went higher, you'd really need some sort of support. What I thought you could do is just set in some logs, some round sort of supports here, and then that would just help to link them together. But I think by the time the roots have gone down into the reservoir, by the time the worm stations are working and there's worms moving, there's actually a worm station here, soil feeding station, I didn't mention that, but that's just made out of a galvanized wire mesh. So each one of these has got a column inside. It's a bit like a lift shaft on a block of flats, so the worms will be able to kind of get through from the sump at the bottom, sort of right up to the top. And where these ones have got overflows, in theory they could actually crawl up the overflow and get between the upper container, the sort of first floor, and then the ground floor, as it were. I think it's going to look really good though. Yeah, so I'll persevere with that. I'll make some more containers. I've got another one to plant there, but I didn't have enough cardboard to line it. It's hard to see because it's so sunny. Yeah, but if you imagine, that is just the footprint is about, well, it's less than a foot square, and then you've got all those sides to plant as well. So you've got almost 4 foot by 1 foot, and then almost another 4 foot by 1 foot there. If there were towers, you could plant on all 4 sides, but as sort of growing them up like a vertical wall, I think that'll be quite effective. And what you could do as well, you could have the shady plants and ferns on one side, and the other side where it's exposed to more sun, you could have more of the succulents and things like that. But with these things, I think it's more of a case of once they've started to get a foothold and they've rooted in, then they thrive. When they're first growing, there's too much evaporation and the soil tends to dry out. So once they've got the roots in there, once the worms are working in there, there's much more sort of much more soil life to keep the plants alive, and then they'll really start thriving. So thanks for watching.